Good evening, guys, and happy Tuesday to all of your sunshiny faces. Well, guys, I am going to go and get to bed, but I ended up getting a little bit of editing done for today. I also did a little bit of laundry, did some dishes. I pretty much finished my Meyer list. So I think we were either gonna go tomorrow or Thursday, my dad said. So I should have that haul for you guys either tomorrow or Thursday. But yeah, so, and I guess then Jewel, even though last week we wanted to try and go on Thursday, I think that we're not gonna go until probably Saturday or Sunday, probably Sunday again. But anyways, also, I think I was telling you guys that next week it's still supposed to be nice. It's supposed to be like 80 degrees for Friday's football game. The week after that looks like it's gonna be 60 degrees like the most of the week, although like the forecast is still, it's not far enough out for like Friday of next week, so I don't entirely know what the football game is going to look like, but I can assume that it's probably going to be about 60 degrees, which, like I said, is going to be finally like probably the coldest weather that we'll have for a football game. Although it's weird, like this last Friday felt like it might have been colder. So that second game of the season that we had was the first away game. That game was like a little chilly. Like we ended up, like I was kind of bundled up for that a little bit. And it was kind of the same this weekend, but I felt like it was windier that second game. Like it felt like it was around the same temperature as last week, but it was windier at the other game. And while it was breezy last week, that second game, I felt like I said it was windier. And so it just felt like it was a lot like colder because of that, maybe. And it might have also have been actually colder. But this past Friday, again, I don't know, it just didn't really feel that bad. And maybe it is that really nice, like I said, that fleece kind of jacket thing that I have. But so far I've been warm at most of the football games. So, and we've only had those 2 games where it's really been cold. The other ones, like, I mean, I've gotten away pretty much with wearing like no more than like a sweatshirt, like, and like long pants. Like that's been the coldest that the games have actually been, other than those 2, like I said, that were a little bit colder. And even some of them, again, too, I've been in like long sleeves and shorts, or long sleeves and like long pants or something like that. Like, again, too, it has not really been that cold any of the games, which is crazy because after this week, again, too, it'll be, you know, like 80 degrees during the day, but I'm not sure what it's supposed to get down to like for the game. Like it might be like 50s like it was last week, whereas again, too, it was like 79 is a high, but it did get down to being like 50 something, so that's why it was a little bit cooler. And it might be the same with this game as well, but again, it's still like, at least during the day, it'll be somewhat warmer. But other than that, after, we just have the last 2 games of the season that will actually be cold, genuinely probably cold weather, like, you know, really have to bundle up. But yeah, like I said, it's weird that like it's just gonna be those last 2 games, and I kind of feel bad for the kids because the second to last game is homecoming, and because we had such a weird homecoming schedule. So like last week they might have been able to have done homecoming, but again, too, when they plan it, so they can't have it like be the first game of the season, which we had, and then it was at home. Then we had like those 3 away games, then we had the 1 home game, which was not this last week but the week before that, and then we have 2 away games, and the last 2 games are home. It's like a weird time, like when do you have homecoming, you know? So they could have maybe again have done it during that you know, that weird middle home game that they had, but it was a team that they didn't like. Normally you schedule homecoming, or they tend to schedule homecoming a lot of times against teams that they feel like they'll at least have a better chance of probably winning against. It's funny, we almost get everybody's, like every away game is almost somebody's homecoming, because they always think that they can beat us. And last year it was like we beat everybody at their homecoming, because that was kind of what they thought, you know, like they thought they were gonna beat us at their homecoming. So far, we've played, I think, 3 of the games have been homecoming, and I think we won 2 of those. Last week was the team's homecoming that we played, and the the last away game before the home game that we had, so 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks, I guess it would be. That game was also the other team's homecoming. So they scheduled their homecoming games against us. So I think that's why we didn't, like, they didn't have that scheduled. But again, it's also weird now that their homecoming game is going to be the second to last game of the season. And then after that, there's like senior night, which is going to be the last game of the season. So it's like 2 back-to-back like big festivity kind of like, you know, football games in back-to-back weekends. And then we, again, most likely, hopefully, we will end up making the playoffs. I think honestly we really need at least one more win to kind of, you know, like, I mean, we should get one more win at minimum, and that's what we would need to really secure a playoff game. Ideally, they're hoping that maybe we'd be able to get 2, but which would maybe put us in a better seed. But again, too, with the way the season's gone so far, it's been like, that's really awesome. Like, you know, that we've positioned ourselves already to like being like, okay, we just have to win like maybe one more game this season. So anyways, yeah, that's what it looks like for football. But again, I'm looking forward to this weekend because it'll still be warm. The homecoming game and then the senior nights, I'm not looking forward to as much because it looks like it's going to be cold. But the bonus is that it will be at home. So like, I don't know, at least I don't have to like worry about like being on the bus and then being all dressed up and making sure that like I carry all of like my extra, you know, layers of clothing that I have to bring with and stuff like that. It's like, at least I'll be at our home school, you know, kind of thing. Like, it's just more of a comforting atmosphere there anyway, instead of also having to be on the bus. Because like, that was the thing when we went for the playoff game last year. We were on those like coach buses, and the thing was that, again, they're really nice, you know, heated buses and everything like that. It wasn't cold being on the bus. And that was kind of the problem, was that knowing that I'm gonna have to be dressed and dressed warm for the football game, which again too wasn't insanely bad because it was on a Saturday and it was earlier in the day. So like, had it been like late at night, it probably would have not been as nice because it would have been colder. But it wasn't horrible. It was bad, but it wasn't horrible. Like, I've been to worse football games where it's been colder. But so again, this football game, well, and it was raining, that playoff game that we played that was like 5 hours away. So but the problem was having to dress in layers so that I could like, again, like take a sweatshirt or 2 off while I'm on the bus, knowing that I'm probably going to be roasting with multiple other people, like even on the bus too, you know. The bus was comfortable, that was the nice thing. But again too, I had to layer up then once we got out of the bus, knowing how cold it was gonna be. So like, that's the problem with like traveling, is that you're like, well, I'm gonna be in a bus and then I'm gonna be off a bus, and you know, like, so you don't want to like be roasting on the bus. Like, that's how it was again, that away game like 2 weeks ago that we had, was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, because it was hot on the bus. Like, I was roasting on the bus. But then sure enough, once we got there, I was like, okay, now I'm starting to get like kind of chilly, you know. And I think again, I wore like a sweatshirt or whatever, but like, it was warm driving on the bus, and that was more the problem, was then, you know, like having to get off and realize, well, it's not going to be this, you know, hot once we really get out, you know, we're at, you know, actually at the game and stuff like that. So that's a struggle more with the away games versus the home games. You know, at least I know like at the home games, I might be in the school for a little while, but if I want to, I can go straight back outside. So too, they're gonna have like the frost off game on, you know, like the Friday, you know, before the varsity game. So like, I normally go out and watch that anyway, so I don't normally stay in the school when we're at home anyway. So yeah, anyways, but the other thing is that I think I was telling you guys too, they originally had the frost off game. That was the team we played on Friday. They had our frost off game scheduled for Monday. I don't know why they did that, because like, they didn't do anything before the game on Friday, like, you know, like festivity stuff wise, really. I mean, maybe they did, but like, I don't really know the reason why they couldn't have the frost off game like before the varsity game like they did. Instead, they scheduled it for Monday. So originally I think they weren't planning on having the kids go on Monday. Well, they ended up actually having them go. They ended up winning. I think the final was 56-0. Like, our school won that much. And I was like, I don't think I've ever seen a score like that put up against the frost off, like on the frost off team, have ever put up that many points. So yeah, it was kind of cool, I guess, that they ended up going to the game, but like, you know, and getting a win like that. But it was also kind of, you know, I don't know, just weird that it was on a Monday, and I don't know why they had it scheduled on a Monday and stuff like that, because like, now it's a shorter period of time for them before the game on Friday, which they're also going to go to, you know. So anyways, they did have that, and they did end up going, and they won. So I guess it was a good thing that they went because they won. But like I said, it was just, it's kind of weird to have it scheduled then on a Monday. Like I've had, again too, like there's been plenty of times where they've scheduled frost off games on Thursday, and you know, but never on a Monday. I don't think I've ever seen that, or like, you know, so I didn't go because they didn't need me for the camera. And so, but Jack went. My dad actually didn't go because he's more of a varsity coach than a frost off coach, really, even though he does work with like the frost off line and stuff like that. He's not like the, you know, like he's almost more of like the offensive coordinator, but not really. The head coach is more, but like my dad's like second, kind of, I guess, a little bit. But like he does a lot of the offensive like stuff and more offensive line stuff, but doesn't handle as much with the frost off kids, if that makes sense. So Jack went though, and he got to tell us the score then when he got back. But I am going to go and take a shower.